to our competitors, Jeff Lutz and Lance Ringnald. They are now at the pommel horse. And you are looking at Jeff Lutz.
If there's one event where a wrist injury is going to show up for Jeff Lutz, it could be here on the pommel horse, because there is an incredible amount of strain on the wrist, because at any given right away, he had trouble there. You can see that he grabbed his wrist.
Yes,
it looks like
he's trying not to favor it, but he might have just pinched it just wrong.
On the pommel horse, of course, you're supporting just on the hands, and you're alternating back and forth. So at any given moment, you're only on one hand at any given moment. So you're switching back and forth. And I'm sure, yeah, he's having a real hard time here. It's unfortunate because you know he's in pain, and he hasn't been able to train on the pommel horse sufficiently to get prepared for this competition.
And unfortunately, the pommel horse is an event where you just get no relief. He can certainly put the weight on the other hand, but that's for a split second. He just gets no chance to rest it.
There's a handstand on the end into the middle. You can see here he's doing single leg work. Those are called scissors. Yeah, this is awfully tough on him. Oh, wow, that's a pretty nice dismount, considering he's having trouble. Yeah, that was a hop to a handstand on the end. That's tough stuff.
So Jeff Lutz with a couple of falls. Tough break.
Right from the beginning, he didn't get a good solid push, and you know he's favoring his wrist. And pommel horse is a very difficult event anyway. I think it's the most difficult of all of the men's events. It's very tricky, and when you're having wrist problems, you're already asking for trouble. Although he did have trouble early, this is a really nice move, a hop to a handstand on the end. It takes good swing and a tremendous amount of strength. Good finish.
Jeff Lutz, 5 feet 5 inches tall, born in Houston, Texas, currently lives in Fort Worth, Texas, wants to go back to the University of Oklahoma and continue training there. And the score, unfortunately for Jeff Lutz, is a 7.8.
That's just about going to run him out of this head-to-head format, because Lance has a little breathing room now, certainly.
Lance Ringnald also will compete on the pommel horse.
Lance has a really interesting dismount. He does a backflip off the horse. It's pretty interesting to see.
You're talking about the breathing room that he needs. 7.7 is all he needs up here, and obviously he'll do better than that unless he has a couple of major falls.
Back more mount. Look at a good extension of the body. Nice handwork as he travels across the horse. And we cut what we call longitudinal travels. Oh, a little trouble there. He's struggling a little bit on one of those travels to the end. There's a handstand in the middle, a little short. He does that a little higher normally. Oh, had trouble on the scissor. That's an easy move. You shouldn't give up points there. And there's that dismount. A piked back off. Interesting finish.
Yeah, caught me by surprise. Even though you warned us, it was a unique dismount.
He really had a little trouble there. He's doing these travels. You can see here he reaches up, and he's going to go all the way across the horse in a major form break there. But he's a tough kid. He really pulls this out and fights to get back in position.
Do you think he over-relaxed after Jeff Lutz's performance?
It's possible. It's certainly a big finish here with the pike backflip. That's a really neat move. There's only a few guys that do that, and none of them do it in a pike position. It's a unique way to get off the pommel horse.
Well, at the 1988 Winter Nationals held in Colorado Springs, Lance Ringnald finished first in the all-around. So he likes it here in Colorado, and for his pommel horse routine, he received a 9.60. He's easily ahead of Jeff Lutz. Our coverage of the 1989 U.S. Gymnastics Challenge continues now. The women have completed 1 rotation, the men have completed 2. Let's take a look first at the standings for the women. After vaulting, Brandy Johnson leads Karen Tierney 9.925 to 9.650. Again, these are cumulative totals. On the men's side now, they have already competed on 2 apparatus of 6. Lance Ringnald leads Jeff Lutz 19.15. Jeff Lutz, of course, had a fall on the pommel horse. That's why his score reflects a 17.2. Now we are on the still rings apparatus. Lance Ringnald against Jeff Lutz. Lance Ringnald will be up first. At the Junior Pacific Alliance, he tied for 3rd on this event. That was in Colorado Springs in 1988.
Lance is a very strong competitor. He's good on vaulting, he's great on high bar, he's great on floor. If there's one area where Lance needs improvement, and he knows it, it's here on the rings. He's trying to beef up some of his strength work and his control. He opened up with a beautiful mount. Back kip around across. There's some good swing, but see, he needs to fight those handstands. He has to hold a good solid body line. You can see he can swing like anything. And he can hold the cross, but the rings are swinging a little bit. He's not quite in the kind of control, but once again, he can do everything in the book, this guy. Right here's a move called a hollow back. He needs to continue up and hold that nice and tight. You can see he's struggling just a little bit to squeeze out the handstand position. He can do all the tricks. It's just a little polish on rings, and he'll be incredible there.
Lance Ringnald, appropriately named, doing so well in the still rings this day.
Lance in his second year now.
Now there's an interesting situation here. He has a black background and a black ceiling. That must be hard to get your bearings.
Yeah, he told me it was a little hard to spot some of the skills, especially the dismounts. He does some good work on those double whippets or gutsugis. It was invented by, not gutsugis, Yamawakis. There's a lot of funny names in gymnastics.
God bless you, you know.
That's a move called a Delchev or a Creason. It was invented by two guys at the same time, so nobody knows exactly what to call it. This is his dismount, a giant over the top to a layout double. He really is incredible when he's airborne because he has tremendous air sense, like a cat.
And the score he received for that routine is 9.65.
Our next athlete up is 20 years old.
Now the man who can afford to make no more mistakes is Jeff Lutz. All he can do at this point is try to hit cleanly and hope that Lance Ringnald maybe doesn't hit his vault or something and can get back into the competition. He's down by almost 2 full points at this juncture.
Let's watch this exercise and try and point out some of the requirements. There's one of the requirements, a strength move right off the bat. He did a kip to an L cross pull out to a plunge. There's some really great strength moves. Back to an L and a hollow back press to a handstand. That's a requirement. You have to go to a handstand once from a press or a strength move and once from a swing, as he did there. A giant swing to a handstand. And there's a full twisting, tuck double back. Really nice, clean dismount. He had good strength early on. He didn't have as much swing as we saw from Lance Ringnald, and the judges want to see a complete exercise that has good strength elements as well as several really good swing elements. He could have used more swing elements in this routine. There's the front giant, good lock arm position as he catches it in handstand.
I felt he kept the rings a little steadier.
Yeah, he was a little bit more in control. Of course, he wasn't doing as many swinging skills where you can really get in trouble. His dismount was excellent, a full twisting tuck double back.
Good point. We wait now for the score for Jeff Lutz.
Score is now being posted for Jeff Lutz.
He received a 9.60. 9.60. Again, just comparing it head-to-head with the still ring performance of Lance Ringnald. It was 9.65 for Ringnald, 9.60 for Lutz. Let's go back over to the women now. You are looking at Karen Tierney. She is getting ready to mount the uneven parallel bars. Karen is 15 years old. From Decatur, Georgia.
Straddle over to the high bar. She casts right to handstand. There's a giant, little bent arm problem. To a reverse hecht, a good release move. That's one of the requirements for the girls. They have to do a release move that's of B value or better. The moves, of course, are A, B, C, and D. Right back up to handstand on the bar, the top bar. Giant over the top, a little short, but she nails the landing on the tuck double. She had some problem with form, some bent arms in the giants. Not as explosive as you'll see from Brandy Johnson, who's up next.
How much does it hurt her to have such an arched back on some of her giant swings?
Well, in terms of overall impression, of course, the judges see that there are little form deductions, there's a loose body line, and of course those take away from the overall presentation an impression that the exercise gives. This is the giant here. So you can see a little arch, a little bend. She needs to be a little cleaner there, but it's a good tuck double back, and she does a nice job fighting the landing and not taking a step.
And our next athlete coming
see, her uneven parallel bar score is 9.60, setting the stage now for Brandy Johnson to try to better that mark. In the single elimination format, at the end of the all-around competition for the women, that's 4 apparatus, and for the men, it is 6. The gymnast with the best all-around total will survive to compete in what we call round number 2. The idea, of course, is to win it all.
Now watch the power in this routine. Look at how quick she goes to the handstand. Tremendously high, reverse hect, right to a front, to a cross change grip. See, she's very tight and very explosive, and that polish and that good, strong, powerful line is very impressive to the judges. Giant half-half. Another giant to a really high tuck double. What a start.
That's good contrast in 2 dismounts that performed with a little bit more explosiveness the second time around. Now, on that release move, she looked a little close to me.
She was a little close, but you'll see there's a reason for that. This first move is just off the ceiling. She casts right up to a really rock-solid handstand. Look at the tap and the tremendous height as she sails backward over the bar in a move called a reverse hect or a Tkachev. Then inside there, she does a straddle front. You have to be close because you don't have a tremendous amount of swing, and the low bar is in your way, so you can't get too far away from the bar in order to make the regrasp. But look at the giant, really good form, and she's so powerful, she just skies this tuck double back.
And the score for Brandy Johnson on the uneven parallel bars, 9.825. She continues her domination of Karen Tierney, who received a 9.6 for the same apparatus. We'll be back. Lutz's challenge here at the U.S. Challenge of 1989. Lance Ringnald holds a comfortable lead of 2 points, 28-8 to 26.8. On the women's side, Brandy Johnson over Karen Tierney. The margin's a little bit closer, about 0.5 of a point, 19.7 to 19.25. And we are moving now to that deadly event, as I like to call it, the balance beam, the place where you don't get a break. You can fall off just standing there.
Brandy has been compared so many times to Mary Lou Retton in terms of her explosiveness. And they have something in common, certainly on beam. They're so powerful, they tend to just go flying off the beam. Brandy has gotten her beam in control, and she was very solid at the recent American Cup. Let's see if she can do it here.
I love her dance element and her arm positions. And if you're a young gymnast at home, take a look at how she finishes each move, each hand gesture. Everything is intentional. There are no accidents in this balance beam routine.
Here comes a tumbling pass or an acro series, flip-flop layout. Nice job. Now the gymnasts have to show an acro series, which is mostly the tumbling elements. They have to show a gymnastic series, which is the dance elements, the leaps, the jumps, and the turns. And they have to show a mixed series, which includes a dance element or a gymnastic element and an acro element. Nice high punch front. Isn't she powerful?
It's so steady. Another thing you can watch for is how often she works on her toes.
Look at that swing through layout. There's her dismount, round off tuck double. Sticks the landing. She is getting so mature and so solid that even the beam doesn't scare her anymore.
A beautiful performance by Brandy Johnson on the balance beam.
This is that acro series. It's flip-flop to a layout tremendously high. No bobble at all. There's a lot of girls that do punch fronts, but very few of them do it this well. Look at the rotation and the height. She lands standing almost straight up. And of course, the dismount was a round-off tuck double back. Still one of the tougher dismounts being done in the world. Round-off, tuck double, good form, good rotation, and a good landing.
And the score she received, 9.825. And there goes the record by Lisa Zeiss. Now you're looking at Karen Tierney. Well, she knows the beam isn't wobbly because Brandy stayed up there.
And this is also Karen's favorite event. So I know she's looking forward to the mount, which is right here, round off, one-handed back handspring on. Very difficult and original opening skill. There's a full turn, which is a requirement, one of the things the judges are looking for.